toxic masculinity.
Tokyo Olympics executive resigns over Olympic comment.
Yeah, Olympic comment. You didn't read the Olympic comment. Olympig.
Ah,
Olympig. You didn't read that correctly. Okay, let's have a look.
Olympig.
Yeah, I think he was talking about me,
Tokyo
actually.
Olympics.
'Cause I'm very athletic, but I'm also very fat. Let's hear. Tokyo Olympics executive resigns over Olympig comment about female comedian. I have to say, I love this joke. I love the joke Olympig. I don't know why, but I read that and I was just dying laughing. I'm like, Olympig! That's hilarious. Let's see here. I have an infantile sense of humor occasionally. Let's see here. The creative director of the Tokyo Olympics resigned Thursday after it emerged that he suggested that a well-known female comedian performing... I literally thought that they were talking about Amy Schumer. As soon as I read this, I thought for sure they're talking about Amy Schumer, but they weren't. It was a different woman. Emerged that he suggested a well-known female comedian perform as an Olympig. Hiroshi Sasaki, who is in charge of the opening and closing ceremonies for the postponed games scheduled to begin July 23rd, made the comments about Naomi Watanabe last year as he spoke to another planning. Why is it that Japanese names are easier to pronounce than like Indian names, or some Hispanic names are a bit difficult for me? But Japanese names, easy. You know why? It's because I took Japanese class for 4 years.
Probably.
I took Japanese class when I was a kid.
Well, for Russians, it's easier to pronounce Japanese names because it sounds like a swear words in Russian. So.
That's too funny. Let's see. Yeah, so like when you get mad at somebody, you're like, you Hiroshi. It's that guy's name. Anyway, let's see here.
You see, I don't.
Sasaki?
Yeah, Sasaki. It's like I don't want to say that. Sasaki. That's kind of funny in Russian. I mean, and if you say like suka or something, it's like a bitch in Russian. But sometimes Japanese have those names or last names. For us, it's just funny.
That is funny. I need to learn Russian. I learned a little bit, but I need to properly learn it. Okay, so he was in charge of the opening and closing ceremonies. He made the comment about Naomi Watanabe last year as he spoke to other planning team members in an online brainstorming session. Watanabe, 33, first rose to fame in Japan as a comedian, but has since gained attention as a fashion icon at home and abroad, Kyoto News reported. Sasaki released a statement Thursday saying he was stepping down and that he had called Seiko Hashimoto, the president of the organizing committee, to submit his resignation. For Miss Naomi Watanabe, my idea and comments are a big insult. God, I never learned to read. Again, I should have read more Dr. Seuss growing up. All right, Sasaki said, and it is unforgivable. I offer my deepest regrets and apologize from the depth of my heart to her and those who may have been offended by this. It is truly regrettable. I apologize from the bottom of my heart, he added, right before committing Harry Carey ritual suicide. Yeah, he killed himself. That part's fake news. I just made that up, but I wanted to see what Valeria's reaction would be. In Japan, traditionally, there was a honorable, like if you dishonored your family, you would commit suicide. You would stab yourself in the stomach.
Harakiri.
Huh?
Harakiri.
Yeah. In old, the old English way of saying it is Harry Carey. We used to call it Harry Carey.
Carey.
Yeah. I forget what the Japanese call that, but it's
Harakiri.
Not, it's something more like that.
The same in Russian.
But it's definitely not Harry Carey. But I still call it Harry Carey because I like old-fashioned, racially insensitive ways of pronouncing things. Okay. You know, I did feel that way, but he explained, and his intention was very strong. What? I did feel that way, but he explained in his attention. I don't know. That's a bad translation of something. Hashimoto said, that is how I felt. For those reasons, I decided to accept his resignation. She said a replacement would come soon. Watanabe told Kyoto News, blah, 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 blah. I'm happy with my figure, said the girl that was made fun of, Naomi Watanabe. She said in a statement released through her agency, so as usual, I would like to express myself as Naomi Watanabe without being particular about being fat. However, as a human being, I sincerely hope that we can have fun and a fun and prosperous world where we can respect and recognize each person's individuality and way of thinking, she said. And I love that kind of idea and that attitude. And I wish we had more pictures of her. Should we just look her up? What's her name? Naomi Watanabe. So this is Olympig, apparently. Oh yeah, yeah, Olympig. That's funny. I think that's funny. Now, but look, I have a good friend who is. I think I've mentioned her on the show before. I won't say her name, but she is massive. She looks about like this. I would actually say she's actually far bigger than this, which you might think like, how can you get far bigger than that? But Valeria can testify. She's like surprisingly big girl, and she is unbelievably confident. I would say she's one of the most confident people that I know. She's got a lot of boyfriends as well, and I think that's awesome. I think it's awesome that she's. But the one thing that we disagree with is that she thinks that the attraction to skinny girls is somehow a conditioned preference of men. Like we're conditioned by society to like skinny girls. And I just don't think so. I think the majority of men are attracted to skinny girls, and that's just how it is. And there's this idea that we have to pretend that's not true, or we have to kind of change that. And I think that's terrible. I think men are attracted to who they are attracted to, and that's it. And some men are attracted to skinny girls, some men are attracted to bigger girls, and some men are attracted to girls that are real big, like this girl. And I think that's fantastic. I like the diversity in the world, and I like that different guys have different tastes, and I like that there's somebody for everybody. And one thing that I think is actually that people may not have ever really thought about, but it's like if you have a choice of a lot of different people, when you meet somebody who's a little bit special, that suits you better than anybody else, you sometimes don't recognize it as well as you might if you are, you have fewer options. What are you reading? What are you reading?
Marcus really want me to say something.
Okay, let's go ahead and read Mark's thing that he really wants.
I see this for a third time already.
Okay.
Marcus Cantor says, Valeria, please say, I hope it's not vulgar, moose and squirrel.
Moose and squirrel. Oh, no, it's not vulgar. It's from a cartoon.
Okay.
So there was a cartoon where there was
moose. It's like a big animal.
Moose. Yeah, with the antlers. It's so there was a girl named Natasha. I think her name was Natasha, in this cartoon called I forgot what it's called. Something and something. The squirrel was, I don't know. It was a moose and a squirrel. I forgot what their names were.
Moose and a squirrel?
It was a moose and a squirrel.
Why somebody want me to say moose and a squirrel? Squirrel?
Yeah, she can't say squirrel.
Squirrel?
But the moose and the squirrel were like the heroes, and then Natasha and this other Russian were the villains. And she would talk like this, moose and squirrel,
Moose and squirrel, okay.
But Valeria doesn't exactly.
Boris and Natasha?
Boris and Natasha, yeah, that's right.
Okay, interesting. Salty JD Coach says, you missed the last super chat. Did you miss those super chats?
Uh-oh, you better scroll up.
I tried. I think we read everything.
Well, anyway, the point I was trying to make before Valeria got lost in this moose and squirrel nonsense.
There is one more super chat from Daniel. Last one, I promise, please say moose and squirrel.
Right. But the point I was trying to make is that if you have a lot of boyfriends or a lot of girlfriends, I think that you sometimes don't appreciate when somebody special comes along because there's just so many people that you've dated. I had this problem once. I dated a lot of girls, and then I met this girl that was a fantastic girl, and then we broke up, and I really regretted it for years. It was a huge mistake breaking up with her. But I thought, there was a couple of issues with the relationship, and I thought, well, I could find somebody else. And I did not find anybody else for a long time, at least not anybody I really liked, until Valeria. Valeria sort of like, I guess was I don't know. I was very lucky. I found somebody else that I liked as much as I liked her, but and far more obviously. But yeah, but that kind of scared me. I was like, what did I do? I messed up. I had this perfect girl and I screwed it up. And but then if you have fewer options, when you finally meet somebody who you like and they like you and you connect, I think it's a very, very special, very big moment, and you really, you really appreciate it, and you recognize it more. So there is that reality that's a little. Anyway, I don't know. Sorry, I'm getting lost in this weird thinking, philosophizing about life and stuff like that. Okay, enough about Olympig. Let us move on to the next story. Unless you have something to say about Olympig, darling.
No, I think we have to move on because we have.
We're
Oh,
running
it's
out of time.
already 7 and we still have 2 topics.
I will say this: Valeria does not like saying the word fat or the word ugly.
I do not like
And I
it.
have been criticized, for fans by saying this. But here's the thing, and I do recognize that those words can be hurtful and that they're used to hurt people, and that's why people don't like hearing them. But I don't think there's anything particularly. I think people should be able to say somebody's fat without it being. I don't think that should be so painful, because I think it's just a reality of the world. Some people are fat, some people are skinny, some people are fit, some people are very, very beautiful, some people are very, very ugly, and it's the tough reality of the world that we have to accept. And you can be more sensitive, you can be more tactful, and I do try to be tactful, and I do try to be a little bit more sensitive when I'm talking about people specifically, or talking to a person, face to face. When I'm talking in the abstract, I think that we need to maybe make these terms a little bit less harmful, a little bit less vicious, by saying them a little bit more matter-of-factly, as opposed to in a way that's like, more vicious. And so that's really why I say these words in a way that isn't sugar-coated, a way that isn't tactful. It's because I am trying to diminish the negative impact that they may have on people. Maybe I'm taking a wrong tactic, but I do use those terms just as a way of referencing the world as it is, as opposed to having some kind of a negative or positive spin on it. Anyway, so that's my defense of saying the word fat and saying the word ugly, which people definitely do not like. All right, shall we move on to the next story, Donna?
Yeah, let's do it quickly. Convicted sex predators caught illegally crossing the border.
Yeah, I didn't actually have time to read this story, so let's look at this. Border Patrol captures convicted sex predators allegedly crossing the border. This is pretty disconcerting. Let's. Toxic Masculinity. Weekdays, 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific.